In the heart of a lively town nestled between hills and rivers, there were two very different lives unfolding. This town was full of bustling markets, grand mansions, and tiny, humble houses. Among the people living here were two girls, Hella and Sofiya. Hella lived in a small, run-down house at the far end of the town. Her family wasn't rich, but they had love, and that was what kept them happy. Hella had long brown hair, always tied back in a ponytail, and a smile that lit up her face, even on hard days. She helped her mother sell fruits in the market to earn a little money for their daily needs. Sometimes they barely had enough to eat, but Hella never complained. She was always grateful for what she had. On the other side of town, there was Sofiya. Sofiya lived in a large, beautiful mansion with tall windows and polished floors. Her family had more money than they knew what to do with. Sofiya wore the finest dresses made of silk, had toys from every corner of the world, and books that filled an entire room. Despite all this, Sofiya often felt lonely. Her parents were busy with work, and the house felt too big and empty. Sofiya would gaze out of her grand bedroom window, watching other children play, wondering what it would be like to have a real friend. One summer afternoon, Sofiya decided to go on a walk. She had heard of the market at the far end of town, but had never visited. It was the kind of place her family didn't go, and it was far from her world of comfort. But curiosity tugged at her heart. She longed for an adventure, and perhaps, she thought, there would be something exciting waiting for her in the market. As Sofiya walked through the market, her eyes widened. The air was filled with the scent of fresh bread, spices, and fruits. The people here were different from those in her part of town. They laughed and chatted, even though their clothes were simple and their shoes worn. She saw children running around, playing games, and giggling with joy. It was a world full of life, a world that Sofiya had never experienced. Among the crowd, Sofiya spotted a girl around her age standing behind a fruit stall. She had bright, curious eyes and a warm smile as she helped her mother arrange baskets of apples and oranges. That girl was Hella. "Would you like to try an apple, miss?" Hella asked, noticing Sofiya standing nearby. Sofiya hesitated for a moment. She wasn't used to people talking to her so casually. But there was something about Hella's smile that made her feel at ease. "Oh, no, I'm just looking around," she replied softly. Hella nodded, her eyes sparkling with kindness. "It's nice here, isn't it? My mother and I come every day. It's hard work, but I like meeting all the people who pass by." Sofiya smiled, feeling a strange warmth in her heart. She hadn't expected to talk to anyone, let alone a girl who seemed so different from her. Yet, standing in front of Hella, she didn't feel out of place. "I've never been to this part of town before," Sofiya admitted. "It's so lively." Hella nodded again, sensing Sofiya's wonder. "It's not always easy here, but it's home. My name is Hella, by the way. What's yours?" "Sofiya," she replied, her voice soft, but with a smile creeping onto her face. "I live on the other side of town." Hella's smile grew wider. "It's nice to meet you, Sofiya. Would you like to play with us later? My friends and I always meet near the river after the market closes. It's fun." Sofiya was taken aback. She had never been invited to play before. Her world was one of rules, tutors, and responsibilities. But here was Hella, a girl who seemed to have so little yet offered so much joy. "Can I really?" Sofiya asked, her heart fluttering with excitement. "Of course," Hella said brightly. "You're welcome anytime." That evening, Sofiya returned to the market. She had hurried home after meeting Hella, her heart racing with a sense of adventure she hadn't felt in a long time. She changed into a simpler dress, something she thought would be better suited for playing by the river, and snuck out of her grand mansion. When she arrived at the river, Hella was already there with her friends. They were skipping stones across the water, their laughter echoing through the quiet evening air. Sofiya stood at the edge, watching them. She felt nervous, but also excited. This was something completely new for her. "Hella!" Sofiya called out, waving. Hella turned around and grinned. Sofiya. You made it. Come on, we're trying to see who can skip a stone the furthest. Sofiya joined the group, feeling a little unsure at first. But Hella and her friends welcomed her with open arms. They taught her how to skip stones, told her stories about their lives, and shared jokes that made Sofiya laugh so hard her sides hurt. For the first time in her life, Sofiya felt truly free. As the sun set, Sofiya realized how much she had missed out on. She had spent so much time alone in her big house, surrounded by things, but never by people who cared. Here, by the river with Hella and her friends, she felt more at home than she ever had in her mansion. When it was time to leave, Sofiya thanked Hella for inviting her. I had so much fun, she said, her heart full of gratitude. Hella smiled and shrugged. That's what friends are for. In the days that followed, Sofiya and Hella grew closer. They spent every afternoon together, playing by the river, exploring the town, and sharing stories about their lives. Sofiya told Hella about her grand mansion, her fancy dresses, and all the things she owned. Hella listened with wide eyes, amazed by the world Sofiya came from. But Sofiya also learned about Hella's life. She learned how hard Hella's family worked just to make ends meet, how they often went without new clothes or toys, and how Hella's mother would sometimes skip meals so Hella could eat. It was a world that Sofiya couldn't imagine, but it opened her eyes to the reality beyond her comfortable life. One day, as they sat by the river, Sofiya asked, Hella, don't you ever wish you had more? Like, more toys or nicer clothes? Hella thought for a moment and then shook her head. I used to think about it sometimes, but now. I don't know. I'm happy with what I have. My family loves me, and I have friends. That's more important to me than anything else. Sofiya was silent, pondering Hella's words. She had everything money could buy, yet she had never felt as content as Hella did. Hella's happiness wasn't about things, it was about people, about love and friendship. It was something Sofiya had never truly understood until now. One morning, Sofiya decided to invite Hella to her home. She had been to Hella's small house many times, but she had never thought to invite Hella to the mansion. She was a little nervous, wondering if Hella would feel out of place in such a different world. Hella, would you like to come to my house today? Sofiya asked, as they sat by the river. Hella looked surprised. Your house? Really? Yes. Sofiya said, her heart racing. I'd love for you to see where I live. Hella smiled, her eyes twinkling with excitement. I'd love to come. Later that afternoon, Sofiya led Hella through the town to her mansion. As they walked up the grand steps and into the towering hallways, Hella's eyes widened with awe. Everything was so big, so shiny, so different from her world. But despite the grandeur, Hella didn't feel uncomfortable. She knew that this was Sofiya's home, and that was all that mattered. Sofiya showed Hella her room, filled with beautiful dresses, toys, and books. Hella admired everything but didn't seem envious. She was happy for Sofiya, happy that her friend had such a lovely place to live. You're lucky, Sofiya, Hella said, as she looked around. But I think you already know that. Sofiya nodded, smiling. I didn't always appreciate it. But now I know that it's not these things that matter. It's having friends like you. As the days turned into weeks, Sofiya and Hella's friendship became something truly special. They learned from each other in ways they never expected. Sofiya taught Hella how to read from the many books in her library, while Hella showed Sofiya how to find joy in the simplest things, like skipping stones or chasing butterflies. One day, Sofiya had an idea. She wanted to share some of her good fortune with Hella's family. She knew they worked hard, and she wanted to help, but she didn't want to offend Hella or make her feel uncomfortable. Hella, Sofiya began carefully, I've been thinking. Would it be okay if I gave something to your family? Maybe some extra food or clothes? I just want to help. Hella looked thoughtful, but then she smiled softly. That's very kind of you, Sofiya. I think my family would be grateful, but you don't have to do it just because we're poor. I know, Sofiya said quickly. I want to do it because you're my friend. And friends help each other, right? Hella smiled and nodded. You're right. Friends help each other. From that day on, Sofiya made sure to share what she could with Hella's family. She didn't do it out of pity, but out of love for her friend. And Hella, in turn, shared her world with Sofiya, showing her that life's greatest treasures couldn't be bought with money. Their friendship grew stronger with each passing day, and soon, the whole town noticed the bond between the rich girl and the poor girl. People whispered about how strange it was, but Hella and Sofiya didn't care. They knew that true friendship wasn't about where you came from or how much money you had, it was about kindness, understanding, and being there for each other. In the end, Sofiya learned something she would carry with her for the rest of her life. Riches could come and go, but the love of a friend like Hella was priceless. And Hella knew that, despite their differences, she and Sofiya would always be there for each other, no matter what life brought their way. The end.